So the House is set to vote on the relief package that passed in the Senate tomorrow. And we're joined now by the ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, Congressman Patrick McHenry. I know, Congressman, you support this bill. You've said as much publicly. So I want to speak to you, if I can, about some of the details in it. Yesterday, among Republican members of the Senate, there was this conversation going about, hey, I know we don't want to make perfect the enemy of the good, but we're worried about the economic incentives. And if people are, as part of this bill, paid more to not work than to work with the extension of unemployment benefits, that might make our comeback economically or even our fight against the virus more difficult. Do you share any of those concerns?
Absolutely. I think what they've done by making unemployment benefits overly generous outside of major metro areas is created a real disincentive against work. And I think that is deeply problematic. Also, with the length of time, we have some folks that try to leverage, a lot of Democrat leaders try to leverage really bad ideas into the bill over the last 5 days, which I think is bad for America. However, I'm still supportive of the bill because I think over half of it, I would say 2/3 of it, is really sharp, targeted relief for those that are most severely affected in the rest of the country and small town America and small businesses and medium-sized businesses. So I'm still supportive, but the unemployment benefit side is just dumb.
We understand if we talk to a Democratic member of the House or the Senate, they would have another view. They may still support it, even though there's things in it they don't like, trying to move quickly. In fact, one of the rubs against this, as you know, is that Congress didn't move quickly enough to get the money out. In the case of small business, these SBA loans that are part of the package. So if you're a small business, right, and you want to keep someone on your payroll, you can borrow money and then promise to keep paying that worker, and then the loan gets forgiven. So it essentially becomes a grant. I guess my question I haven't heard addressed yet is that if, again, to go back to incentives, if people are looking at unemployment insurance versus keeping people on the payroll, how does that count against someone's credit? You own a small business. Does that count as a default? And then would they be more likely to, have a credit problem down the line and maybe then more likely to lay the worker off than keep them on the payroll? Have you thought about that?
It's a very, very smart question. The answer is it will not adversely affect their credit. In fact, even if they work out their loans with their community bank or banks for skipping a payment or things of that sort, it will not adversely affect their credit for this national emergency we're dealing with. When it comes to the SBA, there's a lot of money driven to the Small Business Administration. The goal here is to keep small business employees connected with their employer and keeping them employed. If it works as a grant, that means that they don't go on those employees don't go on unemployment insurance. And if they go on the unemployment insurance over the following year or two, the state will have to raise small business unemployment insurance. So this is a way to save small businesses from drowning in a debt load for a crisis that they didn't at all create. This is like a hurricane or a tsunami of sorts. So we need to get people through this thing to the other side without a severe debt load.
Okay, that's really important information. Time for one last quick question. Like many people, you're working, I can tell, I assume, from home, and a lot of people are doing that. For tomorrow's vote, is that how's it physically going to work out? I've heard voice vote, or because having all the House members in the chamber doesn't seem realistic. Do you know?
That's right. So we have a couple of contingencies put in place. The goal here is to have a voice vote. You saw a 96-0 vote out of the Senate. That doesn't happen, especially in this divided political age we're in. In the House, we should have a like kind consensus, and we should have a voice vote. Absent a voice vote, then we'll have a number of hours by which we can go into the chamber and vote and make sure our voice is heard. Look, I've spent my time on conference calls and on the phone working from home and trying to talk to my colleagues and work out the best deal possible. I think this is a good bill for America and helps us stay afloat.
Okay, Congressman, we thank you for your time. As always, Congressman Patrick McHenry there with us with some important information. Melissa.